Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Heavy Repping. My name is John Tron Davison, and I'm back here once again in the beautiful Bracket in the southwest of England, our super secret test location full of all the Pic best stuff. Now, because we are swiftly getting to the end of the year, 2018 as it happens, I thought the best thing to do would be to collate the 10 best Pics that I've had the opportunity to play and own this year. Now, in order to make sure that it was a nice, fair thing, I've got everything from stuff you can buy in the shops to stuff that is handmade, stuff that is relatively cheap to stuff that is pretty expensive. And I'm going to be testing it all using my Odessa Deadbeats down here, and of course, the mighty Sonus SC50. So, without further ado, let's crack on, and I'll tell you why these were such killers on my top 10 Pics of the year. So these are in no particular order, but I thought I would start with this. This is the Savage Customs Galaxy. It's 4mm and it's made from cross-cast acrylic. And I absolutely love this thing. These guys are based out of Oklahoma, and they make everything one at a time by hand. It had really good grip, loads of power, is beautifully, beautifully made, and it sounded like this. My next winner in this race of champions was this. This is the Mathis Jr, which is like a Jazz 3 XL situation. It's 1.5mm made from Delrin, and these guys were all about shred, shred, shred. And I did get a number of Pics from them, but this was by far and away my favourite. It's warm, it's got a slightly flatter edge than what I'm used to playing, but I just thought it was so good. And unlike the rest of their stuff, which is really pointy, I found that this had good grip, good depth, and on acoustic especially, oddly enough, it was hilariously good fun with tremendous depth and a lot of warmth, and it sounded a bit like this. Now, the very nature of this year meant that as I'd started out heavy repping and I really went on a quest to find the most interesting and diverse Pics that I could from all over the place, that I would come across material I hadn't tried before, and that was of course the case with this. This is the Howling Monkey Jazz. It's made from Tagawa, which is a vegetable ivory, and I went on about these quite a bit on the Instagram, which is here, or maybe there, if I've decided to put it there. And this one has monster grips because I get quite wet hands, and until you get hot, this does feel a little bit on the slippy side sometimes. But that being said, the tone, especially on acoustic, was super deep. It had virtually no string noise, and I loved the fact that they weren't uniform. There was something about that. I loved this whole ethos of making them from a renewable material, I loved the fact that they were each complete one-offs in their own right, the way they looked, the way they felt, everything. So, predictably, they sounded like this. So this is pushing the limit a little bit, but I did find these in a shop, so I can't really say any fairer than that. You can buy them in a shop, and I found this. This is the V-Pics Black Hole. They're made from acrylic, as all the stuff from V-Pics is made from acrylic, but this is essentially the Switchblade in black with a hole punched in it. Weirdly enough, didn't like the Switchblade. Don't know why. It's essentially the same pick, and the hole was a bit weird at first, but the accuracy of this is something we don't talk about all that much in picks. Like, it's how pointed and correct you can be, and these were the business. Going straight back to the high street now, this is a pick that I was absolutely desperate to try when I learned of its release, following on from the Dunlop Prime Tone series, and that means it can only be this. That's right, it is the Dunlop Flow series, the 2mm version. I did, and not only that, but the jumbo. I did like the 1.5, but I do like my picks kind of hefty. And I like the extra amount of pick that you got. There's not a lot actually between the two. If you put the jumbo and the standard next to each other, it's mostly in the shoulders. Tiny, 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 tiny bit of length at the top. But if you do like your picks with a good bit of grip, this is the plums. Now, I did mention in one of my smaller write-ups somewhere that these don't have quite as much grip as the Prime Tone series, but as the Prime Tone was a little bit like having the pick stapled to your fingers, that's maybe not a bad thing for all players. And I genuinely found these to be, in terms of bang for your buck, hard money. Of course, not everything was going to be as relatively conventional as having a pick that's made from Ultex, measuring in at 2mm. I thought I would really spread my wings this year, and as a result, I have to present this. This is the Gem Pics Purple Diamond. These are actually made from PVC, and when I got my hands on this, I'll be totally honest, I was so taken in with how they looked, I didn't actually check what they were made from. And it was only when they arrived and I saw that they were made from PVC that I thought, I don't think that that's going to work. I as you can see, I'm not wearing a hat, and that is because I ate it while I was trying these out. They are very, very good, and although they come in a variety of shapes, this was by far and away my favourite. Works incredibly well on the bass because I play with flat wound strings, and this material doesn't give you that, and I just thought they were an absolute howl. So what a thing. Moving on now to one of my favourite pick companies ever, one of the companies that really got me started on this whole harebrained scheme. I was very excited earlier this year to receive this. That's right, it is the Dragonheart Dragon Scale. This is part of their faux series, and yes, I could have gone on all day about the hardened heart and gone, ooh, the hardened heart, doesn't it sound so good? And it does. If anything, on a tonal basis, I probably prefer it to this, but the way that this felt, and the fact that it's quite a bit cheaper than the other one, I thought this was an absolute masterstroke. These are 2.5mm, they're made from thermoplastic, and just a great pick, especially for doing rhythm work. That blunted edge just goes right through everything, and they last and last and last. Tremendous. Come now to probably the most over-the-top pick I got my hands on this year. This comes courtesy of one man who uses a Tom Anderson, one man who makes his own coffee, and one man who crafts genuinely one-off, genuinely individual picks for no reason other than he thinks and believes that they are the best. That's right, this is an original coin guitar picks company, 1921, 50% silver British Flodden. Bit of a mouthful that, but this is one hell of a pick. I've got to be honest. This came to me from Rouvain Curland out at Original Coin Guitar Picks. It is a fantastic piece of work, and although this obviously originally was a coin, its use as particularly an electric guitar pick was unbelievable. The weight, which you would think would be a weird thing, is a little bit like playing with. It's a little bit like playing with heavier drumsticks or running the PA a bit harder, so you don't have to sing as hard. I do have problems with my wrists every now and again, just because I play and type so much, and this was such a relaxing experience. And for every bit I laid back, it put more aggression in. And so it's wonderfully clear and beautifully made piece of equipment. Not to be outdone, of course, we weren't finished with getting in the more outlandish things quite yet. This last three really is kind of an unofficial top three, I'm not going to lie. So, in its number 2, dare I say such a thing, is this. This is the T1 Jazz. This is a pick that I bought almost purely out of curiosity, I'm not going to lie. It is 0.3mm thick, making it the thinnest pick I own by some margin. It is made from 354 grade steel, which isn't something I would normally gravitate towards. And it only comes in one colour and one shape. So, although these guys have a new pick coming, which is made from carbon fibre, which I'm very excited to try out, this came in the post and I thought, nah, come on. This is like playing with those tech picks from back in the day that were just like taking a shot at your guitar. But honestly, one of the most enjoyable picks I've played all year. Once you get over the initial fear factor that you're going to break strings, which by the way you won't any more than any other pick you would choose to use, especially a hard one. It's great fun, really engaging. Just felt so like, you know, you're right in there, really bright top end as well. So, we come now, of course, to number 1. This was a fairly late entry into the canon, and as you can imagine, as somebody who runs a pick blog, I do rotate my picks quite a bit, but as people vote with their wallets, I vote with the fact that having got this thing, I played it more than almost anything else I've had all year. Given the short space of time that I've had it, that kind of speaks volumes about how, and this is an important thing, how suitable it is to me as an individual. There are other picks that were faster, there are other picks that were bigger, made of more exotic materials and all that sort of thing. But for me personally, at this time, I've got to give it to this. That's right, it is the Doorman Jazz. This is made from thermoplastic, somehow, because it's got a ghost buff on it. It's made in Russia, and these came in basically only a couple of weeks ago and blew my mind at the same time. I've used a lot of thermoplastic picks, and this one gripped straight away. It melded with my style really well. I didn't have to think about it when I was playing it. I went out and did a gig 2 nights after getting this thing and didn't take a spare. But in terms of like an everyday, I'm going to go and do a gig, I'm going to play, I'm going to go and, even though I'm going to go and play the bass, this was the hard ticket. And so. So there it is, that's my top 10 picks of this year. Now there are going to be some other lists in terms of my top 5 giant killers and my top 5 most surprising picks, which you don't want to miss, so you can go and check them out elsewhere on the channel. Don't forget, there's always plenty of articles, reviews, interviews and so on at heavyrepping.com. You can follow me on Instagram at heavyrepping. And if I don't see you before, have a Happy New Year and a Merry Christmas. And remember, rep hard, rep heavy.